Everyone finally made it to Atami, a special place for the grandparents. They were moved to tears, realizing they finally were on a proper honeymoon trip together. They wanted to make memories, so their first visit was to a beautiful Japanese hotel with an expensive open-air bath. When Ine and Mino decided to go for a bath, Ine whispered to Shouzou not to fall asleep too early, hoping they could enjoy the large tub together once the kids were asleep. This idea kept Shouzou excited throughout his bath time. At lunchtime, everything looked delicious and expensive. Since this was a rare occasion, Ine poured some sake for Shouzou to drink. Meanwhile, Shoda felt uncomfortable enjoying the feast because he felt guilty that Shouzou and Ine couldn't sleep together on their honeymoon because of him tagging along. Mino explained that she would have been too scared to come to Tokyo alone, and Ine reassured him that thanks to him, they arrived without any problems. When Shouzou asked the children to join them in a toast, they took 3 small sips as instructed, which seemed strange, but they complied. This practice was for married couples during their wedding ceremony, causing Ine to blush and confusing the children even more. Later, Mino said goodnight to Shota in the same room, acknowledging that he was right about Shouzou and Ine deserving to sleep together on their honeymoon. So Shota ended up sharing a room with Mino, who thought Ine and Shouzou must be cuddling in their bed now. But Ine was disappointed, as Shouzou had already fallen into a deep sleep. Back with Mino and Shota, Mino made a strange request. She asked Shota to call her grandma to understand how her grandmother felt. Shota played along, pretending to be Shouzou, and Mino pretended to be Ine. Shota accidentally called her by her name, which made Mino blush and ended the game in embarrassment. Ine regretted not bathing with Shouzou as planned, but understood that after drinking sake, he needed to rest. However, in Shouzou's dreams, the bath did become a reality. He dreamed he was with Ine in the open-air hot tub, and she called him a hentai for staring too much. When Ine offered Shouzou to touch her, he reached out, but ended up flipping the hourglass in his dream. He woke up the next day, returning to his elderly body. Ine was shocked because today was beach day, and she didn't expect Shouzou to choose his elderly form. They reached the beach, and Ine, with all her beauty, became the center of attention. With a muscular and burly Shouzou behind her, everyone stared even more. Shouzou challenged Shota to a swimming race, taunting that if Shota didn't win, he would never let him have Mino. Meanwhile, Ine was happy to see how much Mino had grown. Everyone on the beach watched the race between Shouzou and Shota. Shouzou zoomed across the water, ultimately winning the challenge. Later, under the shade, Shouzou asked Ine if she would wear the swimsuit he had bought, but she preferred her blouse, believing a bikini at her age would be ridiculous. Shouzou disagreed, thinking she would look attractive. He lamented that while everyone else had someone to show off to, he wanted the same. Ine reassured him that although they couldn't go to the beach together in the past due to her illnesses, things were different now. They were traveling as a couple, which made her very happy. She asked for a few minutes to wash off the sand and reveals she did wear the bikini underneath, but felt too embarrassed to show it. Returning to the beach in her dress, she still wouldn't wear the bikini because she didn't want other men to see her immodestly. Meanwhile, Mino seemed distracted by her phone. She was actually researching the sip Shouzou had made them take, discovering it was part of a wedding ceremony, which made her hyper-aware of Shota. Later, she played ping pong with Shota, but they couldn't keep a rally going. They invited the grandparents to play, starting off for fun. However, after a few minutes, a group of people was amazed by the grandparents' skill. The ball moved so fast it was difficult to see. Under the beautiful night sky, the grandparents finally relaxed in the tub. Shouzou felt insecure about his elderly body, but Ine didn't mind at all. This amused Ine, especially when she imagined them both in their elderly forms flirting in the bath, which made the old couple laugh. Deep down, they hoped for a little more time to enjoy everything they couldn't when they were young. The next day at a temple, Shouzou was caught writing on the wish tablets and pretended to be clueless before running off. When Mino and Shota passed by the same tablets, Shota wished to join his favorite soccer team, while Mino wished for good grades. However, behind Mino's tablet, there was more text. Ine found Shouzou's wish. In my next life, I want to marry grandma again, which made her happy as it was the same message she had wished for. Continuing at the temple, they visit a huge tree. Mino told her grandparents about a legend that said every lap around the tree extended your life by 1 year. Prompted by this, the grandparents headed straight to the tree. Mino also mentioned that the tree granted wishes, so they all went together. Shota wished to return to the temple with Mino as more than friends. As their hands brushed, the grandparents already envisioning having great-grandchildren. In front of the tree, Mino remembered Shota's wish to become a professional footballer and his plan to return home to repay the land that raised him. Thinking about her future, Mino realized she had no clear plans and felt envious of her grandparents' life. While Shota slept, she apologized and gave him a kiss on the forehead. Back in the present, Shota noticed Mino staring at him. She assured him she was just imagining him as a grandpa, though she was really thinking about how flushed she felt after kissing him. Reflecting on the past, Shouzou had been forced to pay off his late father's debts. Despite this, Shouzou promised that when Ine healed from her illness and he earned enough money, they would go on a honeymoon. Although they never managed to save up and Ine's illness was never cured, Ine acknowledged that in a way, Shouzou kept his promise, and she was grateful for him.